Hey everybody, welcome back to my Hypermotard. So this is a second Q&A video. So what I'm going to start out with is one of the questions that I got from the last video that I answered regarding the steering stabilizer, but one of the things I forgot to mention is the reason I think I don't need it is because, as you guys know, I had my suspension worked up, and that's one of the things I didn't talk about on the last one regarding the stabilizer. But I think that had to do a lot to why I don't get that wobble, different speeds and stuff. Maybe, I don't know if that's the case or not, but I kind of think it is. So anyway, that's from the last video. For someone your height, do you recommend a lowered seat? So this is the lowered seat, and I highly recommend it only because the original seat, there's different reasons. I mean, the original seat, first of all, the height, as you know, I took it to a guy to try to get the foam shaved a little bit, and you can't do it on the original seat because you end up on the frame of the seat. That's number one. Number two is basically the fact that it brought it down lower. So for someone shorter, my height, 5'8" and below, it's a big deal when it comes to that. I mean, from being on your tiptoes now to the balls of your feet, it just makes me feel a lot more comfortable. And then if you guys look at the dip, this dip, I didn't think was really going to make that much of a difference. But like I said, the first seat is like a plank. It's really hard. It's not soft at all. This seat is actually a lot softer. But the dip on this thing is awesome. You know, your butt sits here. When you give it gas, you know, you tend to slide, especially on the other seat, I would slide back a lot really fast. But on this one, it kind of holds you in a little bit better. So yeah, I mean, for someone, I definitely recommend a lowered seat if you're height challenge like some of us. Where's the Frenchie? Nice dog. So yeah, this is he's a funny little guy. So this is him, man. Look how much bigger he's gotten. I know a lot of you have asked, like, why don't I put him on my videos anymore? And you know, my daughter takes him just about everywhere she goes, so she's not always home. And a lot of times when I'm filming this video, you know, he's not around. But yeah, he's a cool little dude, man. So anyway, that's Mr. Rambo. So then the next question, you know what, let me put this guy aside because it's gonna be a little hard. Okay, so the next question is, do you get water dripping off the back swing arm after washing, especially the back side? Yeah, you know, for some reason when it first happened, I kind of freaked out a little bit. I was like, man, am I dripping? Because I saw it like hours after I washed the bike, and I was thinking, man, am I dripping oil or what's going on here? And it was hours after, so it kind of freaked me out. But I think what it is it's nothing to worry about, absolutely nothing. I think when you wash the bike, you know, water gets in here, and it tracks down, you know, to the frame, the bottom part. And of course, you know, as the bike leans left, like this one is on the kickstand, it tends to drip off of this side. Not a big deal, nothing to worry about. So don't worry about it. Do the throttle spaces make a big difference? Yeah, actually they do. When you're riding very slow, like doing slow maneuvers, you don't really notice it when you're going at fast speeds. But that little dead spot on the throttle, you definitely notice it when you're doing slow maneuvers. I do a lot of that stuff. I go to parking lots and practice and stuff. And you know, one of the best ways to do slow maneuvers is just to keep the gas slightly on and just feather the clutch as you want to keep going. So you always have power to the engine that way. And it's better to control it that way than to keep doing this on the throttle. Now, when I first got the bike and I kept doing that it had a dead spot every time it was that little dead spot when I just gave it a little bit of gas. Now it's instant throttle, like right away. So yeah, it does make a difference, mostly when you're doing slow maneuvers. That's really the only time you really notice it. For some reason, I get nervous just before getting on a bike while I'm putting on my gear. Is this normal? Yeah, it is, actually. I get it all the time. And it's a weird thing. I think, you know, I mean, I go mountain biking. I can go, years ago when I used to play baseball before all my games, I think it's that fight or flight response. It's kind of like your body just getting ready for what's coming up. And it's actually not a bad thing at all because it makes you more aware. It puts you in tune with what's going on right now. And it's not a bad thing, so nothing to worry about. Yeah, I think it's normal. I get it just about every time I go riding, I go to work, I get that little kind of feeling in my stomach. It's really, really odd. And it makes me a little nervous just before I get on the bike to go for some reason, even though I know I'm experiencing stuff, it's going to be an easy ride. But I just get it. And then as soon as I leave the driveway, it's just gone. So yeah, I think it's normal, so I wouldn't worry about it. After using WD-40, do you notice any fading on your bike? Yeah, right now, you know, this bike's pretty new, so, and then of course it's kept indoor a lot, and whether it's here or at work, I keep it inside, you know, the garage at work and stuff. But, you know, on all my dirt bikes, all the bikes I've ever had, I've always used WD-40, and I had them for years out in the sun, you know, when we went riding and stuff, you know, all day and weekends and stuff, and they never faded. So yeah, I think it's not going to fade. So I think WD-40 is actually pretty good. It keeps it from rusting and just all the other things I've talked about on my other videos. Did you gain or lose power with the Austin exhaust? Neither. I didn't gain, and you got to remember also that I only did the slip-ons. I didn't go past the slip-ons into the DCAT, doing a remap. When you go into the remap, you alter the computer, and yeah, you're going to get a lot more power. Well, I don't know if it's a lot more power, but you're definitely going to get more power. But because I only did this, I didn't go any further in, I didn't really notice anything as far as gaining or losing power. I just noticed that it sounds better, traffic gets the heck out of my way, and that's really about it. And then the looks, you know, they look great. But no, didn't lose or gain power. Do you think you could do 2 or 3 night touring trip on this bike? Yeah, I think you can. You know, there's many times now, I don't, you know, one of the things with the other seat, and I did mention it, it felt like a plank. That thing is just, it felt like it's just a piece of wood. It's really hard, uncomfortable. But this one, it's softer, and maybe because of the dip, it's just contours better. So, I mean, there's many times where I get home from after an hour and a half ride, sometimes 2 hours, you know, and I get home and I just I just want to keep riding. I don't want to stop. So that's telling me already that my body's comfortable. I have no problems with the seat. I don't get off the seat and start stretching and stuff. I feel totally comfortable. So yeah, I think you could do it. The only thing you'd have to do is obviously get some kind of a rack, touring rack, a luggage rack to be able to put your stuff on. And I know they have them. I've seen pictures of them. Not something I really intend to get because I don't do 2 and 3 night trips, but I think it would be cool. It would actually be cool if someone would carry my luggage in a car or something and follow me somewhere. But yeah, I think it'd be a fun ride to do something like that. Have you had any stalling issues? I did read a lot about it, and I continue to read on it on some of the forums. I know that a lot of people at the beginning had a lot of problems. They would take their bikes to the mechanic, and the mechanic would ride it, and they wouldn't get the same result. They couldn't get it to stall, and then they gave them back to them like a couple weeks later, and then of course the owner would have the same problem with the bike stalling again. And what they think they have figured out, and this has happened to I think a lot of the first 950 and 950 SPs that first came out. I didn't really hear that happening to a lot of the later models, maybe with the exception of 1 or 2. But I personally have not dealt with it. But I know that one of the issues was they were saying that it was the throttle bodies, and they thought it was the carbon from a bad fuel building up into the throttle bodies, and then of course causing it to stick. And when they took it apart, they showed, there's actual pictures that they showed where it's gunk. There's a lot of gunk in there. And you know, some people were experiencing like within 700 miles of getting the bike, which is very unusual. But then, you know, I read on other forums where people asked, on someone that was having this problem, they asked them, you know, what kind of gas are you using? And he mentioned gas, I don't remember what kind. And then someone said, well, a lot of it may have to do with one of the mechanics, I guess, told this person that looked at his bike that said he thought it was had to do with the certain gas that you used. I personally use Chevron and Shell only because they're right around the corner from my house, and I know that they're clean burning oils, fuels. So yeah, I've always used those, and I think there's only one time that we were far away from home, and just no other gas station that had an Arco nearby. So, you know, when we were on a trip, so that's probably the only time I used any other gas. But is that the problem? I don't know. I don't know if it is or not, but it might have something to do with it. If you know, if you're having that kind of issue and look back and see, am I using a clean gas? Am I using a cheaper version? I don't know. That's just my guess. That's what the mechanic told the one person on the forum, that he thought it was bad burning gas that you know, created these carbon deposits. So who knows? I mean, who knows? But the best thing that we have right now is that at least we know what it is. It's carbon buildup on the throttle bodies. So it's easy to, if that were to happen to me right now, instead of playing that guessing game, taking it to mechanics, say, hey, I can't figure it out, and they can't figure it out, you show them the form, you tell them the throttle bodies, and they go to it, and they know exactly what to look for. So hopefully I don't get it. So far, so good. So we'll see. Is the red Lexus for sale? Actually, no. That's my son's, you'll see some pictures I'm going to put up here. That's my son's pride and joy. I mean, he loves that car. He goes to car shows, and he's always doing something to that car. He's always trying to find something to do with it. But this is actually his shirt right here. It's Butter is what he calls his. He's on Instagram, and I'll put a link down below if you guys are interested in seeing more pictures and the group he hangs out with and stuff. But yeah, they all have really, really cool cars. I mean, they're car fanatics, so that's what. But yeah, when it's for sale, I'll let you know. Why don't I get bar end mirrors? So remember the story I told you on the first Q&A where I dropped the bike and I busted this mirror. I did look into possibly getting the bar end mirrors, but then I read a lot about them, and I always read a lot about everything I buy. And a lot of the forums, and a lot of from high-end mirrors to the lower end mirrors, everybody complained about vibration. And one of the things I don't like is I really like to look behind me, especially when I'm lane splitting. I like to know if there's a cop behind me, or just other bikers trying to rip by me. I'm always looking in my mirrors. And the last thing I want is to be doing this. As it is, these are small, they're hard to see through, but they don't vibrate at all. So I love these, and that's why I just bought another one of these. And then the other thing also is, if I do get bar end mirrors, it kind of defeats the purpose of what I want. I want to keep this bike narrow for the purposes of commuting and lane splitting. And the last thing I want is for a mirror to be sticking out even further out. I know that you can put it down below, you can put it up above, but I've sat on bikes like that, and you put it down below, I see, it's my body I see. I put it right here, and I see too much elbow. I have to do this to be able to see. And these are just perfect, you know. So yeah, for that reason, I thought about it, but I really didn't get them for that reason. Your videos on arm pump were very helpful. Now I know how to get rid of it, but why do I keep getting it? Well, my friend, that's the $1,000,000 question. I wish I could answer that. In fact, I got another guy that wrote me today on regarding that he never got arm pump. And you know what, dude, I wish I was you. You know, I don't know why I get it. I still get it. Short rides, long rides, sometimes I don't get it at all. It's just the weirdest thing, and it's you know, and until this day they really don't know. You know, it's like you know, racers get it all the time and they have to stop, and people think it's dehydration, not enough salty food, not enough electrolytes, you didn't sleep well at night, you're not breathing deep enough to get oxygenated blood into your muscles. It's a whole load of things that people talk about, but which one is correct, we don't know. I've tried just about everything. I mean, especially when I was doing a lot of dirt biking, I would get it with my friends, and it was frustrating as hell. You know, I just wanted to keep going. I just had to stop, because on a dirt bike it's different. You don't have, like I talked about on that arm pump video, the time, you know, 15-30 seconds of doing what I told you guys to do, and it goes away. But you're on a motocross track, you don't have more than 3 seconds to do anything, because the next obstacle is coming your way. So it's really frustrating. I kept having to stop. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why you get it, and that's a $1,000,000 question, man. If I had that, I would I would gladly share it with you. Or do your CD boots get hot? Actually, no. These are really, really good boots, and one of the cool things about these boots is it has these vents right here, and I always keep them open. There was a time in the winter where I thought I was gonna have to close them, because, you know, it was like 30-something degrees outside, and to my surprise, actually, I didn't have to close them. My feet were very, very comfortable. In the summer, your feet don't get hot because of that vent. So it's not a lot of airflow, but it's enough airflow to keep your feet nice and cool. So this is a great boot. I mean, they have different versions of these. They have the shorter, they have longer, they have different, they have more expensive. They have all different kind of versions, but I absolutely love them. great, super comfortable boot. I put them on, I don't even feel them. You know, the only thing I didn't like is, and I added this is just like, when I have my gloves on and I just feel like zipping my, or whatever, for whatever reason, and I want to put these up, even with my fingers, sometimes it's kind of hard. So I put this thing up, it's really easy, just to whoosh, whiz them up, and yeah, really easy. So anyway, yeah, my CDs are great, love them. If you commute, why don't you use a shield? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, I've never used one, so I don't know what it is to feel. I don't know what it feels like to even have one. I have a feeling it probably feels pretty good, but I've never used it. I've never used one. I don't know what it would be like. And on this bike, on a dirt bike I've ever had, I've never had to use it, obviously. And I've, like, even with this one, I've been at really high speeds. And I feel the wind, you definitely feel it, but it's not something that's unbearable, and I'm used to it, so I don't really feel it. But I think if you're one of those riders that has been on a bike and has been used to using a shield, I probably, this might bother you. I think it might be a little, like there's just too much wind hitting you. Like I said, I don't notice it because I don't know the difference, so that's really the reason why I don't use it. And I don't really plan on getting one. Does Mr. Rambo ride on the tank? No, I would never do that to him. It's too dangerous for him, too dangerous for me, and plus he would scratch the heck out of this bike. No, I'm not gonna do that. But no, Mr. Rambo is just for looks, man. He's a cool little dude, and I wouldn't want to hurt him like that. Do you think Ducati will add a gas gauge to the newer models? I have also forgotten to reset the trip meter. I don't know, man, that's frustrating, and I really hope that they do. Something I think it would be simple just to add to this, like I mentioned before, the 821 Monster, Ducati had it. I hope so. I mean, you know, they're always doing something new to these bikes, so I don't know what else you could do to make this bike more awesome than it is already, but maybe these little things that bother people. And yeah, the trip meter, you know, you think it's no big deal, you just reset it, but of course you forget. There are those times that you forget, and then you're like, you know, 80, 90 miles into your ride, you're like clueless to how much gas you have in the gas tank. So yeah, I hope they do. I'm 5'6". Can I ride this bike? You know what? It's hard to give you that answer because there's riders, there's professional motocross riders. For example, I'll give you one. This guy up here, Ricky Carmichael, he's 5'5". He rode a bike as tall as this, and he became a supercross champion, became a motocross champion, and he managed to get on a bike like that, 5'5". So my thing is, it depends on how much experience you have. If you feel comfortable, if you've been riding for years and you've ridden dirt bikes that are just as tall as this, and you feel comfortable with that, then I don't see a problem with it. But I can't be the one to tell you, no, you shouldn't, or yes, you should. That's something I think you're kind of like, you know what you can do and what you can't do. So, you know, it's one of those things is like, a lowered seat definitely will help you. Some people have mentioned lowering the suspension, which is not something I would recommend, because my mechanic told me, and also the guy that did the adjustment on the bike, he said if I lower the suspension on the front and back, it's not going to ride the same no matter what we do with the settings. So I said automatically, forget it. I'm not going to do that. I'll deal with the seat. So like at 5'8", this seat is awesome. 5'7", it's probably good. 5'6" and below, like I said, you know, if you can slide your butt off this at stops, and here's some pictures, for example, of some people riding, you know, they're midgets that ride bikes like this. I don't know, they jump off the seat, you know, just before they hit the red light. But you know, if that's what they want to do all the time, that's fine. So yeah, I guess you can do that if you feel comfortable enough. Which riding mode do you use most often and why? So I use, as you know, we have the sport mode, the urban mode, the touring mode, and I just had this thing where, you know, I wanted as much power as I could out of this bike. So when I first started riding it, I kept it in sport mode. Holy cow, man, this thing is like, it's just super jerky. It's just super jerky. And not a good idea, I think, if you're commuting, especially in tight traffic where traffic is like 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, and it stops. And you have to like go in between cars and stuff like that, because it's too jerky, and it just, when I turned it off, when I went into urban mode, I realized how much smoother I was in that situation. So that's why I kept it that way. I do, you know, when I go into the canyons and stuff, I'll put it in sport mode because I feel a little bit more response out of the throttle. But, and then the other thing is it's better on gas. Urban is a lot better on gas than sport is. So I usually use urban when I'm commuting. You should get a gold chain on your bike. Yeah, I totally agree. I want a gold chain, but you know, I gotta like wear this one out first, and it's gonna take a while for this chain to wear out. But it definitely, when it does wear out, that's probably one of the things I'm gonna do is get a gold chain. I agree. Which gas do you use? Okay, so again, we went to that question with the throttle bodies. I've always used Chevron and Shell. They're clean burning fuels, and luckily there are 2 gas stations I have right around the corner. I can pick either one, whatever. It really doesn't matter. They're both great gases. And I always use a 91 octane for sure. Do you ride 2 up? Or in other words, do you ride with a passenger? No, I don't. I don't like to. I mean, the only times I've ever really ridden with a passenger is going from one campground to another back in the day when we were riding dirt bikes. But on these kind of bikes, you know, I want to be responsible for me. I don't want to be responsible for someone else. And then, you know, trying to take my wife on this, you know, back in her day when she was a teenager, she was dating some guy that thought he was a hot shot and pulled a wheelie with her on the back, and they both went down. She still has the scars on her knees to show for it. So, yeah, she'll never get on a bike like this with me. But you can. I mean, that's what these things are for, and I've seen people do it. So, yeah, you can. Why don't you take the passenger foot pegs off? Well, for 2 reasons. One is if I were to take this off, I've seen people's pictures where your foot, the heel hits this right here, and then you get black melting, you know, like the rubber will melt off your boot and stick onto the exhaust, because it does get hot right there. The other reason is because I like to hang my helmet on here. Sometimes not so much on this side, but I hang it on the other side. Like you know, if I go to the gas station talking to friends, we're taking a break or whatever, getting ready at work to get back on the bike to come home, I'll hang it on this side. And I don't like to put it on the ground. I don't like to put it here. I don't like to put it on the mirror, you know, because it could just fall off. And plus, putting it in the mirror, they recommend not to, because, you know, the helmets are made out of the foam inside, and the constant pressure will start dinging the foam inside. So yeah, this is actually, I hang it from the chin part right here, and it's perfect. But I usually do it from the other side just to avoid the exhaust. Have you thought about putting on more lights for commuting? I don't know. I don't want to look like a trailer on this thing with all these lights and stuff. I mean, as it is, I think the lights are pretty good, especially these up here. They're actually very bright at night, the blinkers. But running lights, I mean, these are bright. But I know they sell, like the ones I'm going to show up here, the ones for the front forks. I was thinking about getting those, you know, as for the blinkers and stuff, but I don't know. I just still debating that. But no, I think the lights that it has right now are good, and the black back license plate, as you saw in that video, it's really, really bright. And these are also bright, the blinkers here. So haven't had a really need to get them. How long do the Super Corsa tires last? These tires, it really depends on your riding style. The first ones, I kind of burned them out at close to 3,000 miles because I was going through the canyons and going crazy on these. And yeah, I was burning them out big time. And these are my second set. And right now they've probably got about, I'd say about 4,300 miles, something like that. And they look great. They still look really good. Because mostly lately what I've been doing is commuting, you know. And they are very, very soft tires. They grip like crazy. And one of the things I notice also, when sometimes I'm in the mood and I just give it gas really hard, you know, maybe a little wheelie here and there. And I get home while I'm taking my stuff off, and, you know, put my bike right here, and I was looking at the back tire stuff in the chain, and I noticed that there's little pieces of rubber that come off just from that one full throttle. I mean, they wear out really fast if you mistreat them. So. And that's it. Another question for part 2. if you guys want to see more, if you guys want to hear more about questions, I'm getting so many questions, really good questions, but I can't fit them in all these videos because there's just too many questions. So, but if you guys are interested, let me know if you want me to make another one of these Q&A videos. But anyway, hope you guys like those. Ask more questions, comment, and for Mr. Rambo and I, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, tell your friends, and we'll see you guys next time.